Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Named the dog Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, the podcast where we reminisce about our geeky childhoods with our ungeeky beer. I'm Tim.
And I'm Frank.
And tonight, Frank is drinking what?
I'm drinking the good old Harpoon Winter Warmer. What about yourself?
I am drinking Sam Lager.
Ah, very nice. Winter
yes.
Lager.
Winter Lager. It is delicious. It is warm. Well, it's warming me on this very cold snowpocalypse that we are in the midst of right now.
Agreed. Yes.
Yeah. So,
very good.
So much snow, even after the storm. So much
That's right.
snow.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so today we are discussing what is quite possibly one of my favorite things of all time, Tim Burton's 1989 film, Batman.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so if you are a little bit unbeknownst of this film, if you didn't know anything about it, film came out in summer of 89, came out in June. I was not yet 2 years old when this film came out, so I did not see it in theaters.
I was 6 months old.
You were 6 months old. See,
That's
there
right.
you go. Yeah.
Yep.
This is a film discovered. This is a film discovered for us a little bit later, and
That's
for
right.
me, I mean a little bit later. I mean like 5.
Right.
Not too much.
Mm-hmm.
I distinctly remember renting this film from Blockbuster over and over and over again, and watching the commercials in front of it. Like how some films, like when we had VHS tapes, the commercials were like just as part of the movie. Right. And so for me, the Batman film, I don't know if this was the same for you, but it had the Diet Coke commercial with Alfred, where he's like, Master Bruce is busy right now, but so on and so forth. And it's just the Batmobile driving. And then it had a Bugs Bunny cartoon with him like selling stuff. And Daffy Duck comes out and he's like, oh, well, you can't have this, and you can't have that, and and all that stuff. And they were like, a giant eraser came and erased them, and it was super funny.
That's great.
Yeah, you can check them out on YouTube for sure.
Yeah. I've definitely seen that Alfred Coke commercial on YouTube.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Yeah.
I'm sure. It is absolutely there. Like I know, unless all of a sudden Coke was like, no, this can't be here.
Right, unless it's been pulled. Yeah, I've definitely seen it there.
Yeah, but I'm sure that it's still there.
Yep.
Yeah, and so anyway, this film, directed by Tim Burton, who was kind of hot off of, not a lot actually. He was kind of hot off Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah, I was going to say that. That's really, I think, the only big thing that was directly preceded this.
His Pee-wee Big Adventure, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all films together. No, Beetlejuice was his other big one.
That's true.
Because that's when he started working. That's when he first started working with Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton. Yeah, you're right.
Which is how Keaton originally got cast. Before the internet blew up, before there was an internet. When Michael Keaton got cast, when fans wrote letters, they're like, how could you cast Mr. Mom?
Yeah.
This is terrible.
This is the worst thing that's ever happened.
Yeah, this is the worst thing. Burton said that they cast Keaton because of his eyes.
Yeah.
It's like, you could believe that he could really, dress up like a bat. Yeah. Like he's really that mentally unstable. And the world and everywhere across the world said, I think you're that mentally unstable, Tim Burton.
And they still say that to this day.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
And so anyway, So the film was all very hush hush up until the moment in which they released the picture of Jack Nicholson as the Joker and Michael Keaton in the Batsuit, and then everyone was like, "Oh my God, I take back everything I've ever said."
Yeah, and they very much took the approach that they took with the Superman films, where it's like, let's cast somebody really big in one of the roles, and get everyone to buy in, from having a big name in one of the main roles.
Right.
So to give, Jack Nicholson was already on top of the world, like Jack Nicholson. He was already an international movie star.
Looking down on creation because I'm Jack Nicholson.
Exactly.
Good. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. That's exactly it. So he was already a big name. It was a big deal to have him. So absolutely drove this film in a lot of ways and helped it be as successful as it was. And summer of '89, people still talk about how it was just Bat mania everywhere. This film just inspired this huge resurgence in interest in Batman.
Right. Maybe akin to The Dark Knight in 2008.
Yeah, I mean, the way they describe it sounds like maybe more like Star Wars in '99.
Right. Well, like people cutting the bat symbol into their hair.
Yeah,
and stuff like
yeah.
that. Yeah, we don't do that anymore.
Not so much.
No, I mean, not since my mom yelled at me for doing my own when I was 10. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, that never happened.
Yeah, not since at least 2 weeks ago.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm bald now. So, anyway. So what do you think? I mean, when did you first come to this film?
I was probably 8 or 9 years old when I first saw it.
Wow, that's actually, that's not low. That's kind of low on your age for seeing movies that are kind of like popular movies you have to see. Normally you come to them later.
I think I saw it probably shortly after. Because for me, I tended to, for a lot of movies, I tend to get to them a little bit later, but I wasn't in a big movie watching family growing up. But I feel like I saw Superman the movie around that age, maybe a little bit younger, and then probably right around that age. And I think I saw this, shortly after that. Because like, well, you've seen Superman, now let's see Batman. So yeah, I think it was probably right around the same time.
Okay, that's good. Did you like super love the movie, or do you super hate the movie?
At
or
the
in this
time,
case, do you bat love the movie? Do you bat hate the movie?
I enjoy it. I don't love it or hate it. I enjoy it. I like it. On the same way that I like any other superhero movie that's about a superhero that's not my favorite. So I like it on the same level that I enjoy. Like some of the Marvel movies and that kind of thing.
Okay.
But it's not. Superman will always be my favorite. So it's not. I don't usually think of it as like, oh, my top 5 superhero movies. It's not going to be in that list.
Okay. It definitely used to be in my top list. Coming to it as an adult, I think I have a huge nostalgia factor for that movie.
Sure.
Probably definitely bigger than Star Wars or Indiana Jones or even Superman the movie. Like, I think Batman '89 is my ultimate nostalgia. This movie is great because of the way that I remember it as a kid, not so much from what it is now. Because if you watch it now, if you watch it as an adult, there's really not a lot of plot.
Yeah, it's true.
And the movie's not really about Batman.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the big thing that I've taken away from it from rewatching it more recently.
Mm-hmm. It's not about Batman.
It's not. It's neither of the Tim Burton movies are really about Batman.
No, the first one is I would say maybe a lot more than Batman Returns. But
the first one is a lot more, yes.
Yeah, I mean, because the film starts with Batman and the crime that he doesn't stop, even though it's a homage to the crime that was committed to him with his parents.
Right.
He's like, look, a crime. Sweet.
Yeah.
I'll stop that later. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta finish playing Nibbles on my phone.
Yeah,
first.
exactly.
Yeah, with my super thick gloves that can barely fold my hand. But but you figure, I mean, if he's still running around at that beginning scene is still one of my favorite Batman scenes ever.
Yeah,
even though I mean, people make the argument that, like, he doesn't capture them or whatever else. Yeah, but the police come and arrest them, so clearly he did his job.
Yep.
Like, so, like, I don't know what else they wanted him to do besides, like, tie them up to a lamp pole or something like that. But if he's still running around to crooks being like, I'm Batman, then no one knows who he is. It's like day 2 on the job, you know?
Right.
Or not really. It's a couple months or something like that. But
Still, yeah, it's definitely Batman year 1 in that sense.
Oh, yeah, super Batman year 1. But you would figure as a Batman year 1 that he would have more to do as
not so much. Huh?
Batman, you know?
Yeah.
Because once he's consistently in the movie, like, you know, he keeps showing up. This is Batman. Okay, here he is. He's the other action beat. Here's Batman. You know, even if the action beat is, you know, Batman turning and pivoting a few times,
right.
Then that's it. Actually, I discovered the reason for the bat pivot. And it's not what I had originally thought.
I thought it was because he couldn't turn his neck.
I guess he actually could turn his neck.
Oh,
which I thought, yeah, he could turn his neck, not like a huge amount, like,
right.
But he could turn his face a little bit.
Okay.
But when he did, the side of his mask where his cheek would open, like it would pop open. It wouldn't rip or anything, but there'd be like a huge gape where the cheek would be, and they were, and he and Tim Burton were like, "This is super unheroic." Like,
right.
Like, costume malfunction, can't move, you know? And so he came up with the pivot to keep the mask in place more than the neck turning.
Okay, so he could turn it, but it just didn't look...
It looked stupid,
it looked
I
bad,
guess.
Yeah.
Is there a moments in either Batman or Batman Returns in which you can kind of see the mask do that a couple of times?
Okay.
In Batman Returns, they changed the what the costume was made out of. It was a little lighter. And so there are more moments where it kind of becomes unsealed from his face. But I guess it was pretty severe. I just watched an interview with him not maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago where he talked about this. Yeah. Well, Michael Keaton was talking about Birdman. And so they asked if, like, how much of his experience with Batman did he draw on? And so he kind of talked about that day on set, where, like, I think it was one of the first days of, like, okay, we're gonna shoot. I think it was like the rooftop scene that we were just talking about, and he was like, all right, I'm gonna fight these people and blah blah blah, and he was like, yeah, can't move my face. Yeah. So, which is cool. He also hurt his hip in that scene. Actually,
yes, I had heard that.
Yeah, kicking that guy into the door. He jangled his hip. Well, poor Michael Keaton. So, but anyway, so as an adult, like, I look at, like, you know, as a kid, you watch it and you're like, okay, there's Batman. You know,
right.
Wait 30 minutes. Okay, there's Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
It's so spread out, and there's so many gaps between there being Batman in this movie. There's a lot of Bruce Wayne in turtlenecks and glasses. There's a it's true.
He does wear a lot of turtlenecks.
A lot of black turtlenecks.
It was 1989. Everybody was wearing turtlenecks.
I know. I'm just taking easy pot shots.
No, by all means, take them.
Turtlenecks and glasses, and you know, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
The let's get nuts scene. I love that scene.
The
I actually hate
infamous.
that. I actually really hate that scene.
Do you really?
It doesn't feel like it belongs in the movie.
It doesn't at all.
It just feels like a different movie, and, like, the characters aren't really acting the way that they've acted the rest of the movie.
It feels so, like, tacked on to the rest of that movie.
Yeah, like Michael Keaton either wanted a scene with Jack Nicholson without the costumes on, or they needed some kind of depth to his relationship with Vicky.
Something like
that. And then, but it's just like this weird scene where even Jack Nicholson's Joker is he's like a different Joker. He walks in, he's like super calm and kind of sly and casual. He's almost more Jack Nicholson than the Joker at that point.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. A little more typical Nicholson.
It was typical Nicholson, exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, this movie is the only movie he said that he can watch himself because he doesn't recognize himself.
That's interesting.
Isn't that cool?
That is interesting, yeah.
Which makes me feel a little bit better about the person that Jack Nicholson is.
That's true. That's true. It's interesting. I mean, just the idea of having Jack Nicholson in this film. Think about they gave him a really sweet deal, right? To do it. Like, they gave him, first of all, they must have backed up the money truck.
I think he got
to get him on board.
I think it was $10 million.
Yeah.
As a payday, and then he got like, what is it, 10%?
Yeah, he got some percentage of all anything that is based on that version of that character.
That's the Jack Napier version of the character.
Yeah, right. Which is like, pretty commonly used. Like, that's usually the name that's now used for that character, and
yeah, well, not really anymore, but
not anymore. But it was for a
when
while.
That film came out.
Yeah.
It was kind of whenever there was a new version of Batman rolling around. Yeah,
and wasn't it for several years after as well, or am I remembering that incorrectly?
What do you mean?
Like, maybe like, wasn't post-crisis Batman, like post-crisis Joker, Jack Napier for a while?
Post-crisis Joker, Jack Napier. Honestly, I in the comics, that's a great question. I have no idea.
Okay.
That's a really good question. I'm not sure. I know he was in. I want to say he was in the cartoon.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I know
that could be what I'm thinking.
He was a mobster in the cartoon.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't think they might not have ever given him a name.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever said his name. I can't quite remember.
It could have been in the comics. It could have been an alias type.
Yep.
You know, like one of those.
Might have been a sly reference.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know if he's ever. I don't know if they've ever gone, and because the Joker historically doesn't have a name. That's kind of was one of the points of the Joker, I should say. So you know what it is I think it's Batman Beyond. He has this, like, there's a scene and it's like the Joker / Jack Napier or something like that. That's it.
Okay.
I knew there was.
Got it.
I knew it was some cartoon.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yep. Okay. That now it all makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Aha. This day is mine. Okay.
Good job.
Thanks. So anyway, back to Batman.
Yes.
Do you think it's a movie that holds up at all?
No. And that's not a bad thing.
It was a product of its time.
It's a product of its time. Here's the thing. I mean, okay, coming into this movie, the only live action Batman anybody had was Adam West. And while I love Adam West as Batman, I love that show and I love that film. It's a very campy, intentionally campy take on the character, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time they were like, we want to make like a real serious, just like serious for real Batman movie. No messing around, no pow, bang, none of that. Just like a dark, realistic take on Batman. This was, for its time, the closest thing you were going to get.
Yeah, that's true.
For its time.
I wouldn't necessarily call this film a realistic take on Batman, but I know what you mean.
But it was by comparison, and everyone at the time was like, I can't imagine a comic book movie being any more, badass than this.
Mm-hmm.
Because this was, even the Superman films were more comic booky than this.
Oh yeah, super. Yeah,
so,
I agree with that.
When that's what you're really comparing it against, this is the grittiest take on a superhero they've ever seen in film.
Yeah, and the film is definitely gritty. I mean, the 2-block radius that is Gotham City in this movie. Even as a kid, I remember thinking, like, the Monarch Theater is there an awful lot.
You do see a lot of that theater.
Is every scene there in
so
Gotham.
True.
And I mean, that problem persists in
Yeah.
Batman Returns, but it's Gotham Square instead. But it's the same idea,
right.
where it's like Gotham City basically has 4 blocks. If you walk 2 blocks in that direction, it's Gotham Square. And you walk 2 blocks in that direction, and it's Monarch Theater.
That's right.
Yeah. It's the same. It's the same thing over and over and over again. But I totally lost my Batmobile of thought. Go ahead. Oh, darker and grittier than the
yeah. That's where we were going. It was darker and grittier than any other Batman or any other superhero film that had come before.
Mhm.
So that's why I think it people were excited to see for the first time a real dark and gritty take. But looking back on it, I don't really think it holds up in that regard because it's just not super dark or gritty when you compare, or it's just really not when you compare it to the Nolan films.
Yes and no. I don't know what. I guess it depends on what Nolan film you're watching. Maybe Dark Knight and Rises. No, maybe those are darker films. But
Yeah.
Batman Begins is not really a dark film. Batman Begins is pretty standard. It's an hour origin story, an hour first outing as superhero, the end.
Well, okay, yeah, but I wouldn't say that it's not a dark. Like, I would still call that a pretty dark film.
Yeah, but I'm gonna
Again,
say
compare.
that it's. Go ahead.
If we're just comparing the two, if we're comparing Batman '89 and Batman Begins, I'm going to say Batman Begins is the darker of the two films.
Yeah, see, I'm in the other camp. I think that Batman '89 Batman feels like a darker. It just feels like a darker place. I mean that's Tim Burton and Anton first more than anything else versus, Chicago.
Sure,
but not saying but even not even when it comes to the bad guy or the stakes or anything like that. But the macabre of Tim Burton makes the film feel a little bit darker. Just little things like the Joker cutting out people's pictures, presumably who are dead, so he kills his people and then photographs them and cuts out their pictures. That's not a level of weird or scary that the Batman Begins ever got to.
Okay, I mean, I guess we'll disagree. I do think that there are elements of the '89 film that are darker. Like I mean, the Joker is. I think the Joker is more menacing in that film than Ra's al Ghul is in Batman Begins.
Yeah, but that might be because you see Liam Neeson on screen, regardless of the part he's playing, and there's this pull to Liam Neeson.
I mean, partially, but I don't know. I'm trying to be objective, but yeah, you're right. That could be partly clouding it. I think we should talk about the score, the soundtrack, and the score of this film. Oh man, that theme. I wish.
All right, sorry.
So, do you know the score? Do you know the theme to this movie?
A little bit. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I do wish they were still using this theme somewhere in some way.
The Batman Lego game uses it.
Does it really still?
Yeah. I don't know if
the
new one does. I don't know if the third one does. I know for sure the first one does.
That's great.
I don't know about the other two.
That's so good to hear.
Yeah, that's something, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's nice to have this, living on in some way. Danny Elfman. This is pretty early Danny Elfman, isn't it?
This is right off of Oingo Boingo. Oingo Boingo. Ooh, that's tough to say.
Uncle what? Uncle Bunko?
Oingo. I hate it.
No, I know what you were trying to say.
Oingo. Boingo.
Wow.
Boingo.
Okay.
Boingo. That is really hard to say.
Uncle Boingle?
Oinkle, Boinkle, Boinka Boinky. Yeah, he did Pee-wee too, but this is
he did, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
He did.
Well, yeah,
he did the Pee-wee.
Yeah, it's true. And that is interesting. How much Tim Burton likes to keep the band together, which has always been a facet of his filmmaking.
I really like it when directors keep the band together.
Me too. I mean, yeah, I do too. I mean, Christopher Nolan does that too. He latches onto actors who he likes to have in multiple projects. And he kind of has them overlap. It's like, okay, so Anne Hathaway was in Dark Knight Rises, and then she was also in Interstellar, and then maybe the next movie he makes will have McConaughey in it, and they all overlap.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a something that Danny Elfman likes to do too, and I kind of forget about that outside outside of Helena Bonham Carter, obviously, and
Johnny Depp.
And Johnny Depp, of course, yeah. But
although Big Eyes just came out and neither of them were in it.
That is true.
And then Helena Bonham Carter and Tim Burton split. So
that's right.
That's how she feels about it.
Yeah. Well.
Danny Elfman did Pee-wee and Beetlejuice too.
There you go.
I keep forgetting that. We keep forgetting that Beetlejuice comes before Batman.
I keep forgetting that it came out before.
For some
Batman,
reason, I think it's afterwards, and I always want to switch Beetlejuice with Edward Scissorhands. I always think that Edward Scissorhands came first, but that one's in between.
I actually
Batman
was
and
too.
Batman Returns.
I actually was too. I was at the beginning of the show. I was going to say, was he coming off of Edward Scissorhands yet, or was that after? And yeah, that's exactly what I was confused about as well.
Yep. I got you covered.
Just a mental block. Yeah, man. But yeah, Elfman's score, great. Influenced. I mean, it stuck around for a little while. Like I said, I wish it was still in more stuff, but
I did check. It actually is still. They're still using it in the Lego games.
Great.
Yeah, Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham, still there. But
that's so great.
Yeah, and the Lego Batman the movie and all those things. It's still, it's definitely still around. And I mean, that film, the score was so popular, especially the main theme, because there are other pieces of music in that film that are really good, not just the main theme. But he was brought on to do other stuff too. Like he composed the intro to the 90s Flash show.
Yeah.
Because they were like, oh, DC hero or just a superhero. Let's make it dark like Batman. And I don't know who talks like this. Film producers, apparently.
Yeah, apparently 90s TV execs.
Yeah.
I do like that also, obviously that theme, his theme was used for the Batman animated series for a while.
It's not.
It was a variation on it.
It's a variation on it because it's not the same. It's
not the straight up the same theme. You're right.
No, it's not.
Shirley Walker took it and did some massaging to it. But
yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. And then she did the rest.
And
of
then
the
she did her
all
own
the way through.
Yeah.
It's funny too because like when I think of the animated series, I don't really think of the intro music. I think of Shirley Walker's music instead.
Okay.
But hey, that's fine. I mean, that one I think was more consistent throughout the show, whereas the intro music was just the intro music. And then the rest is history. Yeah,
that's right.
All right, I want to talk Vicky Vale.
Vicky Vale.
I want to talk Vicky Vale. She's got a little rated name,
That's true. That's true.
She's a photojournalist.
That's how you know she's a DC character. She's got
she's a made up job.
The double initials, the same first and last initial.
Well, actually, no. That's how you know Stan Lee is really the one responsible for the alliterated names.
That's true, I guess. But that's true. You're right. It does start. It does start.
Yeah,
before
don't get me started on Stan Lee's alliterated names. Yeah.
No, you're right. Peter Parker and so forth and
Fing
and so on.
Fang Foom. Okay. Photojournalism. I said that it's not real, which is not true. It is.
I mean, it's real.
It is a very real job. But
it's just the way she does it. You're like, did they know what a photojournalist is?
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Yeah, what is it that you actually do, Vicky Vale? Like, because you're taking pictures of the wrong things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are very bad at your job.
You are very bad at your job.
Did someone just give her a camera and they were like, yeah, you can have a job here.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to hang this picture right here on the fridge where everybody can see it. All right.
In the office.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look, Vicky did the Christmas card for us. Look, everyone's gathered here in the center. It's very nice of her.
That's so nice.
Yeah. But you wonder about Vicky Vale because she kind of goes through these weird shifts in the film where she's supposedly this hard-hitting photojournalist who's like been into the war-torn Corto Maltese and
that's right.
All of this stuff wrapped together, and then she like freaks out at every turn. the rest of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Although I will give her that she is very investigative of, the most famous man in Gotham, Bruce Wayne.
That is true.
Yes,
she does. She does have a lot of questions for him. She does investigate a lot of him.
Yeah, a lot. She's very thorough.
Very.
Right at the
covers
beginning,
every inch.
really. She's really, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
Well, good for Vicky. Okay, or good for Bruce.
Good for both of them. I always hope those two kids would get together.
They're just so great. Yeah. I do like that she actually gets a mention in Batman Returns, even though she doesn't come back. It just feels like a little bit of continuity between those films just by mentioning her
it's
name.
true. It's true.
But yeah, I like that. But moving on from Vicky Vale, I want to talk about 3 more people before we kind of wrap up and
lead the way, good
out.
sir.
Okay. Well, first, I want to talk about our friend Billy D. Williams.
Billy D.
I have a framed photo of Billy D. Williams as District Attorney Harvey Dent.
That's right, you do.
Yes, I do. He was a very nice man.
He was super nice when we met him. We met him together.
Yes, we did. He was super nice. That was the same day we met Burt Ward and Adam West.
That's right, it was.
It was a lot of Batman in one day.
Big day.
It was a big day. Big day. So he was supposed to, he had a contract for multiple films in which he'd play Harvey Dent and eventually become Two-Face, and then got bought out in his contract when Joel Schumacher took over.
So sad.
So sad. I actually would have really liked to have seen what the third Tim Burton Batman movie was like. Would like to have seen that movie.
Yeah.
Like what would have happened, where it would have gone. There, just a couple of weeks ago, there was an image released of the bat suit that was made for Michael Keaton for that movie.
Interesting. I did not see that.
Yeah. And it wasn't done yet, but it was wearable. And so, but it was, whether it wasn't done being painted yet or not, but it was gray. It was very interesting. And it was definitely a little sleeker than before, back to the muscle look as opposed to like the Art Deco style. It was very interesting. So that was kind of like, I would really like to see that movie. But alas, actually, DC, get on this, this weekly digital comic thing that they do. Mm-hmm. I want to see Batman 89.
Yes.
I would love to see a Batman 89 digital weekly.
That would be really cool. Yeah. Honestly, that would be really cool. But they've already got Batman 66, Wonder Woman 77. I'm holding out for Superman 55. That's really what I want to see.
Yeah. Well, you never know.
It will never happen, and but I really wish it would. I would be the only person buying that every single week.
Yeah. Well, I'd be curious to see like their renditions of the 1955 version of Brainiac and Darkseid and Luthor and like.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
Because he doesn't go up against any of those characters in the show.
True, but those characters did exist in that time frame, so it'd be interesting to see them kind of meld together Silver Age comics and that show and kind of see how that turned out.
Right. That would just be an interesting play to watch.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see that.
Yep.
All right, other characters you want to cover off on?
I want to cover Commissioner Gordon, Pat Hingle.
Oh, yes.
Who even again as a kid, like he's not given anything to do ever. He's just he's kind of like the guy that's like, Point the light up there, and we'll catch those bad guys. Don't you worry,
But I mean, kind of like Commissioner Gordon in the TV series too. It's just sort of like, he exists. I mean, he doesn't do much. But,
in '66.
Yeah, what did I say?
You just said the TV series, but there's been a lot of Batman.
TV sorry.
Series, so.
Yes, I meant the '66 TV series.
Okay.
Yes, not the animated series. Yeah,
you're right. He's kind of almost confined to his office.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he just dials the bat phone and says,
Batman,
help.
We have problems. Like, you're on it, Commissioner.
Yeah.
So whatever. So that's that. So I was always kind of bummed like that with a kid. But he is in 4 of them. He is kind of that continuity.
That's right.
Him and Alfred, who is my last mention, Michael Goff.
Goff, I think. Yeah,
it's Goff.
This way, sir.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to say suspicious things in front of a lot of people, sir. He is my favorite Alfred, though. Despite that, he gives Bruce like the look better than anybody.
Yes, that's true.
Like, don't sass me. I raised you. Don't sass me.
Right,
sir.
right,
I
right,
raised you.
right.
Like he's really good at that. That's why he's always kind of my favorite Alfred because of that. Definitely not the Alfred of the comics, or no. I wouldn't believe that Michael Goff, the Alfred that he portrays. I would never believe that he was like an MI6 spy.
No.
Or, a field medic or any of these things that Alfred was before becoming a butler. I would never believe that. And so I don't think any of that was even part of Alfred's backstory when these movies
I was going to say, I'm not sure that was continuity yet. Yeah.
I don't think it was. And Michael Caine mentions it a little bit in Dark Knight. It's like,
that's right.
I was in Burma and my friends and I, found a tangerine, like whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty much all you get from him.
Michael Caine.
And so those are my those are just my mentions. We didn't really talk. We're running out of time, so we didn't really get to mention them a huge amount. But do you have any words on any of these people?
Love Billy D. Really wish we had seen him as Two-Face.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Alfred is actually one of the highlights of these films, even if he's not the most subtle all the time. I really enjoy him. Vicky Vale, she kind of got a raw deal. But I guess that's what you get for hanging with a superhero. Yeah. No, I very much enjoy this film. Looking forward to talking about Batman Returns. I have some thoughts on that I can't wait to share.
Wonderful.
Yeah. But I guess we'll have to say that for next time.
Agreed. Very good. So where can the people find us, Frank?
Well, they can always find us on Twitter at Beer with Geeks. They can find us at beerwithgeeks.com, facebook.com/beerwithgeeks, beerwithgeeks@gmail.com. And they should, of course, check out our new show.
A new show
from Tim and Frank.
Tell us more.
Supergirl TV Talk. This is our new show where we talk about the upcoming CBS TV series about Supergirl. And we had published an episode already, and there's more coming soon. And we'll be until the show premieres this fall. We'll be with you every couple of weeks, every few weeks, and deliver sort of any news we have, any rumors, that sort of thing, and maybe talk about some of our favorite Supergirl stories and such. Supergirl. Yeah, that's they've actually said that's the official theme song of the show.
First rumor.
That's definitely a
on Beer with
true
Geeks.
thing that we definitely did not just make up.
Nope.
It's all your friends. Yeah, but supergirltvtalk.com or iTunes are the best places to find that right now. So, or TV Supergirl on Twitter.
Cool. Okay.
All right, man.
All right.
Well, thanks a lot for listening, and we will see all of you next time.
No, you won't, Frank, because this is a radio show.
You will hear us next time.
Yay!
Tune in next time when you might hear Tim say,
Stacy, turn off the bat signal.
Yeah!
Yeah!
Cheers.
Cheers.
This podcast is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. All character names, sound effects, and quotes are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Thought Bubble Audio Studios unless otherwise indicated.